sense. Somebody has a good underhook here, I can try to fight and pummel and do all that stuff, or I can switch to the other side and start to get different attacks going. So we're going to be switching to the other side. I'll break it down here in a minute. Alright, so we get here, and this is a good time to start using like the back step. They have the underhook, their shoulders real low, you feel like you're not going to win that pummel. So here there's options for Gilbert to be able to defend. There's always options of him using this hook for different things. But what I'm usually thinking is when we get into this space, I'm pushing on their hip. Here, maybe I'm having trouble, so I'm going to take a big back step. Right here, I post my hand and step to the other side. Now, you can use your hand to help pull them with you, but they usually follow you naturally, right? So we're like here fighting. So what I'm going to do, if you guys come over on this side, this first little thing we're going to work is this right knee. I put to the floor. So here, there's a bunch of options that can start to happen, but what I'm going to look for now is the crossface. Control like an underhook on this side. I like to use this knee now to start, like I use my foot as a base. So if Gilbert bridges into me or anything, I'm based, and as he opens his legs, I can pull the leg out. But if they decide to stay with it, I like to use this knee. I like sneak under their leg and use that to pry it up, and then patch the guard. So I'm here, having trouble. I'm gonna put my hand to the floor when I'm ready to go. Hop to the other side, and my knee starts pushing to the floor. Here, I kind of walk my hand to push their face. Hug the back. Can use my other knee now to open the space and come. Getting my guard pass, neutralizing their underhook. So we're here playing, right? I need to be careful about not posting so high that as I start to come, Gilbert's head's underneath me. We can still do stuff, but it's hard, right? So my hand places, right? Can't be too here, can't be too far out. Just gotta kind of find that. I think like if your elbow's kind of touching like their shoulder blade, you should be about the right spot. I come across, hug tight, come here, clear. If you find yourself like they're able to just get their hand in as an underhook, an underhook's only going to be super effective when the shoulder's underneath my shoulder. So when he's here, he can work his way there, right? That's like the start of it. But if you feel this, elbow tight, and kind of bring your weight here. Now try to use the underhook. That's going to make it hard. Now I can switch my controls to nullify the underhook from there. We're here, we post, we start to come over, and I get here. And there's going to be times it just can't get my knee free, whatever, they're strong. So here, I keep this nice and deep. I put my ear to their shoulder blade, because I don't want them to be able to flatten back out. Now I'll post this hand wide. Oops, sorry, there, knee back of the head, and I cut that in. Right away, I go seatbelt, elbow to my thigh, roll to the other side, and I hit in the back. Pull me there. So we end up here. We're going to go for the same general idea. So when they do a good job with this grip, it makes this difficult. So what I usually do just to like stabilize the position is I'll grab. Sometimes you grab either one, but like usually this one's more convenient. So here you have to play what they give you. If I feel they want to jump their hip up for the waiter sweep style, yeah. If I feel them doing that, I'm kind of pushing the leg down. If I feel like they're trying to find this little hook behind my ankle, I tend to pull it up. So there's no one right answer, you kind of search. As I'm doing that, this hand's ready to base, but I need to start clearing this. So I'm fighting, and I usually just look to push down. Now here, depending on how mean you want to be, you can push on their face. I usually try not to, but I'm going to be bringing my knee over their head. So you can start to come here. Now I switch. 1, 2. Now this knee turns to the Now we're right in that same position we were just a second ago, depending on where they push. You do the same here. In a tournament, I'll drive my knee right over their face. I don't do that in training, but you can really just smash through. One thing that happens too, especially when you're doing a good job controlling their legs, is sometimes they get like a little frustrated and like they'll be like trying to find a butterfly hook or whatever. And if you're real good at it, sometimes you can just kind of pull your leg out and get there. It's just opportunistic, right? I never go in anticipating that, but sometimes I feel like they're a little loose. Yeah, and I'll just pull out. Here's where things get a little troublesome for me. Yeah, but let's go back before you get there, because that's a whole nother story. So, push in the head, or you can just step over, come over. Yeah, so we have the first pass. Now, we talked about this the other day. Real common is they go to push you away here. So I'm going to use my hand to start to push. My arm comes under, and my ear hits the shoulder. I never want to have my head up here. Nice and tight. Now, from here, I can start posting my barred hand, and I'm going to take a big step all the way through. One thing I see people do is they don't want to post their hand, they want to like connect, and then they, and it's hard to move. To me, it's worth thinking of like this pushing in my head, this pulling, and I can get there in one smooth motion, and it's going to be more efficient. Now, we talked about this the other day. I want to connect a seatbelt, but I don't want my hands here. Here, I feel like there's room for Rich's head to go. Sometimes we get it, but I want to go bicep deep to the ear. Now my elbow tight to my thigh, sit to the other side, and take it back. This grip can give me trouble, so I'm usually like trying to peel it down. Sometimes you're not gonna break it, but if you can get some slack in it at least, right? Now it's gonna be easier. I can push his head, I can post, and I'm just coming over. Say Rich just had like his arms here, and I just wanna try to get to this position. I can stab this knee in this space here, and this buys me a second to start fighting back under. Now same thing, bicep deep, and come. So I'm in there deep half, right? And I'm fighting, but I see a chance to underhook, I'll go for it. Here you usually have to, like it's hard to go in right here, so I kind of scoop inside my own leg, and I'll get it. Now I kick my hip backwards and start to come in till my head is like on their shoulder. Now I usually switch my head and start passing. But what I see is guys will get the underhook and like here, and they try to bring their knee out this way. And now, oh God, I'm gonna hit my face, but if Gilbert rolls to his left, yeah, my head goes to the floor. And even if I had the underhook, I either have to pull it out to post, or I eat mat, which sucks. We'll drill this together too. So I come here, I'm in. If I feel like I'm just not able to get anything going, but I feel space here, is I'll just punch my hand through, step back over, and slide my knee for the pass. A lot of times there, I'll stab my hand in, and I almost like bait them into, here, I stab my hand in, and as I come over, I'll wait for them to turn their hip back into me. And it makes it like a less labor intensive way to knee slice, so you can kind of just keep pressure on them and come back. But if you think about it, we re-achieved the underhook. And then you can also just fight into quarter guard from there. And start passing here. And like some people just want to flatten and play here. Now I can fight for the underhook and just try to pass this little quarter guard, quarter mount, whatever you want to call it. So what's been happening is guys are been doing a great job of getting to like this deep under. Exactly. And Chris sits up on the elbow, which is what I want. Here, right? If I just try fighting Chris and holding him down, he's probably gonna be able to get his knees to the floor and start winning that single leg battle. So I get here, and last night I talked about there's a little way to force him to start coming up on his elbow, where I put my weight on this leg, sit on it. Now I sneak my knee behind. Here there's a bunch of leg attacks. For Chris to defend, they tend to sit up on the elbow to stop the heel hook, which gets him to come up. But right now, we're not gonna worry about heel hooks and stuff. So let's just come here, and Chris sits up on his elbow. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my head over Chris's head and reach in and start to catch this arm here. From here, I'm gonna start to knee slice through and then hop to the far side. See what I'm doing is by controlling the two hands on the wrist. It's kind of like a Kimura control, and it's kind of like a seatbelt control. It's almost a little bit of like the best of both worlds. So here, wherever Chris starts to move, I can maintain, start finding my hook, and look to take the back. It feels weird because you feel very top heavy when you go for it, like you're way above them, which you are. But because we're gluing ourselves to like one of their limbs with two hands, we can kind of get away with being top heavy and still able to take the back. It's possible to get to the Kimura grip here, like for sure. But what I found is because around the body, grabbing my own wrist doesn't really add much to it, because I'm not going to move the guy's arm for a Kimura since I'm around the body, you know what I mean? So the double wrist grab tends to be a little easier to get to. So you start to come, head to the floor. Here, I can start kicking my leg out. I can kick back to help break it. Now I'm here. Here now, if you want to go to the Kimura grip, nothing wrong with it. One thing I've been liking about this is I'm finding the neck a lot. So as I start to come here, one hand still controls the wrist and the other one sneaks up there. Ready to hit our attack. Make sense? Just play with what they give you. 1, 2.